The question is not what is this man doing, what isn't he doing? We all know his stellar work on Modern Family, the funniest show on network television on ABC on Wednesday nights. There's a Q&A tour, which we'll tell you about, where you can get to meet this man. And then there's the movie, Friday, July 8th, The Secret Life of Pets, starring one of the voices of, as I mentioned, the funniest show on TV. The man plays Duke. Eric Stonestreet here on The Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you, Eric.
Thank you. Good to see you, Rich.
Good to have you back
Thank
here.
you. It's always a lovely trip down.
The 405.
El Segundo. Yes.
Well, you know, and plus we give the mints away in the back, in the green room.
It's a great big dish.
By the way,
of
if you want
mints.
to take some, you could take some to go.
That's usually my bit when I leave a restaurant.
You
I'll
do-
just grab. Do you do that?
I did that in high school. I was known for that.
Just taking all of them.
Oh God, all of them. Just
I take
a
all the
big
toothpicks
fist.
I can too. The look on their faces is like, seriously?
My high school friends will still bring that up to me 30 years later, because I would take a whole fistful of mints, just take the whole darn thing.
You really can judge a restaurant by the mint choice they give you at the end.
Well, what do you think
Well,
is the haute cuisine?
I
mint?
like a really good Italian restaurant in New York that offers a really nice wedge piece. You know that fruit, that candy that's wrapped that looks like fruit?
Yes.
Like I was just at a restaurant called Carbone in New York this weekend, and when I left, they had these beautiful wrapped individual slices of oranges, and you're like, quality.
Now it's a different era as well. I'm talking about the era where it is unwrapped.
What about
Just sitting
unwrap
there-
the
sitting
dish
there.
of those like chalky mints
Yeah.
with the gelatin in the middle?
Yes, that's the winner.
Your grandpa always had them in his shirt pocket, and you're like, I guess I'll have one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it came time, I think, at some point as a civilized world that we had to wrap these things.
Yeah, we need to wrap them.
You know what I mean?
You remember the candies, the pink things that were like Pepto-Bismol that were just dots, like round?
Oh, yes.
Those were like a real candy too, and oh gosh.
Yeah. See, but you and I are also of the mindset as well that there are certain things in the world that we will not touch, and it's most things with humans. With dogs, the cleanest thing in the world is a dog's mouth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Like that's not a big deal
I'll
at
let
all.
a dog lick my face. No problem.
Not a problem, right?
Before I would let most people lick my face. I don't want any people licking my face.
And that's a pretty neat thing too, because I know you are such a dog lover that you get to play a dog in a kids movie that you're doing right now. You must have had a blast doing this.
I did have a blast.
movie.
It seems like forever ago that they asked me to do it. It was like 2 years ago that,
that
the
right?
whole thing sort of came onto my radar. But it's been a process, and yeah, absolutely. I grew up, as you know, with pigs and cows and dogs and cats. And,
Now that's from your upbringing in the middle of right in the heartland.
yeah, always had pigs and
What do you mean? You always had pigs just walking around your
well,
house there?
penned pigs. They weren't just free roaming pigs.
No.
They had an area. Although one time I was just telling the story, I was in an in-school suspension. I had gotten into a fight at school, and I was in school suspension, and the principal came into the room that you were locked into with the other bad kids, and that was Mr. Riley was his name. He goes, Stonestreet. I go, yeah. He goes, come here. I'm like, how can I be in any more trouble? I'm already in school suspension. He goes, you need to go home. Your pigs are out. Like, what? He's like, your mom called and she needs your help. Your pigs are out on the road, so you need to go home. So I got to get out of in-school suspension to go round up my hogs.
Like it's Unforgiven.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you got to go round them up and keep them away from the fever. See, that's one thing. Growing up in Staten Island, I never had that.
Never
phone
had
call.
that
That never
problem.
happened for a call. No, never happened for me.
I didn't know you're from Staten Island.
From Staten Island, New York. Yeah, you didn't know that?
Well, I didn't know you were from specifically Staten Island.
Yes, that's where I'm from.
You and the Wu-Tang. And my
Yes.
old assistant, Paul.
The Staten Island Streetwise Troubadours,
Yeah.
as they were known. The Wu-Tang Clan.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I was just talking about Staten Island.
Ricky Schroder also is a Staten Islander.
Then that's pretty much
No. There's Steven Seagal, I believe, is a Staten Islander.
Okay.
Legend.
So clearly there was a lot of dojos. on
Legend,
Staten Island.
yes. Why am I blanking on the actress's name? Who's the Boss? Why am I blanking on her?
I've got a nice list if you want some.
Alyssa
Alyssa Milano?
Staten Islanders.
Robert
Agent's
Loggia,
wife.
Robert Loggia.
Loggia.
Paul Newman,
Okay.
No, wait a minute. Paul Newman was a Staten Islander?
lived in St. George, Staten Island. I'm just looking at a list.
What do you do on Staten Island? Would you say?
Take the ferry?
I had a question. Would you say that? What percentage of New Yorkers,
Yes.
from the time New York existed,
Yes.
whatever, as a cumulative, have never been to Staten Island?
A large
90%, right?
amount of people, yes. Unless they have physically gotten on the ferry to go.
Right. Because there's no reason, because what's there is homes, correct? I mean, so unless you're going to visit someone, you don't go to Staten Island for the
fill in the blank.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's mostly correct. Yeah. And as you know, my wife, who anytime I say I'm from New York City, she scoffs. And I'm like, oh, excuse me.
Staten Island.
That's right. It's the fifth and forgotten borough, Staten Island.
But you're not really from New York City.
I am from New York City. It's a borough. See, what's with you and the New England types right over there?
I mean, do you really have to ask?
Okay, when someone says, "Oh man, you're from New York City," you assume that they're from Manhattan.
Well, right. But so that means Staten Island.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with. There's 5 boroughs. If you say you're from New York City, I'm assuming you're from one of those boroughs.
No,
right.
come on, Eric.
That's the truth.
It is true.
You grew up in
Queens?
the Midwest, as far so far away from New York City. When someone told you when you were a kid, "Oh man, I'm going to New York City," you don't think they're going to Staten Island.
Well, I don't think they're going to Staten Island, but I would include that as being from New York City.
And this is a man who grew up closer to Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah, the Little Apple, mother. No, you know what? I did love that about Chicago. When I lived in Chicago, people would be like, I'd say, "Oh, where are you from?" And they say, "Oh, we're from Chicago." Like, "Oh, where?" "Oh, north of the city." "Oh, where?" Milwaukee. Everybody wants to claim they're from Chicago that are like 45 miles
I'm
away.
from Winnetka.
Yeah, Winnetka. Joliet, you heard of it? Yeah. Nice.
Schaumburg.
Schaumburg.
Yeah. I've heard that one too. Exactly.
Naperville.
Yeah. So now with you and the Kansas City Chiefs, let's get into this right here. Okay. Now I know it's a deep adoring affection, and we talked about it on the show the other day. Peyton Manning was for the last 4 years a roadblock. I heard that the upper register.
He's always been a roadblock for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Even from the Colts.
When he was with the Colts, yeah.
Okay, now he's gone.
Yeah.
Would you not agree there is a vacuum to be filled in the American Football Conference Western Division?
Yeah,
right
if you don't consider the Chiefs already have filled it.
Would you put them atop the division right
Absolutely. Look, I think it's an emerging division. I think the Raiders are building something good there, which is exciting for football. Chiefs-Raiders rivalry coming back. The Broncos, you can't cut them out, but the Chiefs are on the uptick, no doubt. And it's both exciting and nerve-wracking at the same point, because I've always found something positive to think about with the Kansas City Chiefs before every season, but it's really hard to not let myself go even get more excited when you consider we had the season we had last year with Jamal Charles and our injuries.
Out. Yes.
And we added some more defensive help, with Peterson coming back as good as he played last year in his rookie season. Now he's I think obviously going to be even better. We've added some linebacker help. We've added some O-line help. And, we outside speed. We have this new kick returner from Western Alabama or whatever the college's name that's supposed to be exhilarating. Somebody said he was the most exciting player since Devin Hester, return man since Devin Hester, which I'm happy to have that guy on my team.
Sure. But you got your guy Lockett though, right? I mean, he was up there in Seattle. What he did last year from Kansas State,
phenomenal. So I'm excited. Andy Reid, big Andy Reid fan.
Even after the time management
I want to do a clinic on time management. I do want to discuss it.
Just using those things called timeouts.
Yeah. It's rough. It was rough last year. But the Patriots, the Patriots are tough. I mean, you gotta
see you went upper register there too.
Patriots are tough. It's hard, man.
You went upper register there too.
But we got the Chiefs coming out here for their second preseason playoff game against the Rams, which is going to be exciting for me to go to a Chiefs game in L.A.
In L.A. Or did you get season tickets out here? Because I know you're just such a big sports fan in general.
Yeah, I think I'll root for the Rams for sure, since they're in the NFC and St. Louis. It's an easy thing for me to root for.
That's right. Okay.
But they won't be my first NFC.
But the Chiefs, I mean, this is an opportunity here because
we have
again. This is the Broncos are not the same. They just aren't from what the last 4 years have been.
Who's even going to be their quarterback?
It's Sanchez, Mark Sanchez. I look at that grin that you have on your face right now.
I can't wait for him to meet my friend Tamba and Justin.
Yeah, I mean this is it. I think this is the year that you could take that. The question is if Brady, for what he does in either the last 12 or all 16 games.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. I mean, because we could have ended up winning the division last year, and we didn't. We still made the playoffs, but we still didn't get past. So, honestly, the Broncos maybe not being as good as they were last year may not mean as much to us if we can't beat the first team we play in the playoffs.
Eric Stonestreet is here on The Rich Eisen Show. The Secret Life of Pets in theaters Friday, July 8th. When we come back in 60 ticks of the clock, we'll talk about your Royals and how you were just there in Kansas City for the big slick for what you and your compadres Rudd, Sudeikis, and Riggle and Koechner do for Children's Mercy Hospital there. Wait till you, guys, did I tell you how much money they raised? Did I tell you how much money they raised? It's truly impressive when we come back here in 60 ticks of the clock, right here in 1 minute time here on The Rich Eisen Show. Don't go anywhere. We're back with Eric Stonestreet on the show in a moment. And The Secret Life of Pets in theaters Friday, July 8th. Eric Stonestreet is here on the show. The Big Slick charity tournament.
Yep.
That is near and dear to your heart. I've been to it for a couple of years. It is you, Riggle, Paul Rudd, David Koechner, and Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah.
All you guys
from the Kansas City area. Rob Riggle kind of conceived the idea a few years ago before I was ever on Modern Family. This was the 7th season or 7th year that they did it. He came up with the idea and invited Paul and Jason to do it, and then a few years later asked me and Koechner to join in. But it's a charity event that we ask our celebrity friends to come in for. Raises money for Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City. It's a great hospital. There's no bills at Children's Mercy Hospital. They don't refuse anyone, and they do just such amazing, great work for the kids, not only of Kansas City, but it reaches to Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, Oklahoma. Kids come from all over with real serious health issues.
And go ahead. I don't want to say the number. How much did you raise this
Well,
year?
I've heard the night that we announced the number, it was 1.3 million this year, but I heard it's up to like 1.4 something as the totals come in. But thanks to you donated a package for the NFL Network for fans to come and be able to watch NFL games on Sunday with you and your co-host. That went, I think, for 27,000, something like that.
The least I could do.
But that's that's a testament to the people of Kansas City. I always say that we're sort of the catalysts that come in town and make the news about it. But people show up with their wallets and give money. And honestly, the event can I told Rob this year, I said, I think this thing could get as big as we really wanted it to. It's just a matter of being able to manage it because our family does all the work. Rob's brother and sister-in-law and Jason's mom.
Jason's mom does the travel.
Kathy Sudeikis is incredible.
She does the
and Paul's,
and she's really good at it. And
Yeah,
we're
she's
showing
really
they're showing
good.
some video
Is
of
this
you
from this
guys
year?
playing. You play a charity softball game on the field at
okay, if they
Kauffman
have
Stadium.
Marsden's hit, then they have to have my hit.
Marsden went off the wall.
Yeah,
and
I am.
there you are going
Fighting.
out there fighting with Ian Gomez.
Yeah, I knocked his ass out right there. Oh, this was hilarious. The first pitch of the Royals game, we had all these kids come out, and they just launched these balls at us. That was so funny.
It was a fun time there.
But there you go. It's really about the kids and their families and the staff at Children's Mercy Hospital. We go and we visit the kids and see the smiles on their faces that we provide, just because most of the kids, not most, but a lot of them have no idea what we do for a living. They just know somebody's coming in and going to play pie in the face with them or Connect Four and say hello to the nurses and the family. I met a kid this year who's there, whose brother plays football at Kansas State University. He really touched me. He was excited to meet me because he knows I'm a K-State guy, and meaningful moments.
It's awesome. And I've told this story many times here, certainly to the two Chris's over there, that it's all about having fun too.
Yeah.
And then it's like midnight, 12:30, 1, sometimes a little later than that. And then you and Koechner and Riggle will walk up to everybody and go, you do realize you need to be in the lobby at 7 in the morning to go to the hospital to visit these
Buses
kids.
leave at
you
7:15.
And you best, like maybe you should go to sleep.
It really
it's
is
like what you say to everybody. It's like, understand what you're really out here for.
Yeah. And it really usually, as you know, is the highlight of the trip for everybody. I mean, we have so much fun. We try not to ask a tremendous amount of everybody, but definitely make it part of the process that you go and see the kids and the people at Children's Mercy.
At Big Slick KC on Twitter, bigslickkc.org, how you can donate as well. Do we have this was, I believe, you, Koechner, Rudd, Sudeikis, and Rob Riggle in the dugout during the game between the Tigers and the Royals?
Riggle mentions the name of the stadium, but he just calls it Royal Stadium instead of the name, and you guys just launch into
All right,
him.
let's take a look and listen here to this. Let's check it out.
By the way, how great is it to see Royal Stadium this packed?
Oh, it's so great. It's great.
Especially in this heat.
Yeah.
That's true fanhood right there. That's true fanhood.
And since you left, they began calling it Kauffman Stadium.
They call it Kauffman Stadium? Yeah. Well, they call it the K, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah.
What'd you call it? I said Royal Stadium.
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh.
I mean,
I'd hate to be you right now on social media.
That's a little.
You're going to get lit up on Twitter for that.
I don't feel like it's not that big.
Rob, when you say Royal Stadium, I'm just like, well, who plays there?
Yeah. Where's that? You mean Old Municipal Stadium?
No, guys, it's not that big a faux pas.
You still call them Freedom Fries? Oh, my goodness. I feel sorry for your Twitter account tonight.
You know, Biggle, I'm hoping we get a wild
the good
pitch.
people of Kansas City not to light me up on Twitter.
We're calling for a wild pitch over here right now.
and he did. You should have seen everybody correcting him. But isn't that the greatest thing about social media is everyone's got a voice?
Everyone does. At Eric Stonestreet, I'm sure you hear it as well. Now, I saw Sudeikis. It looked like he had a brew. Jason Sudeikis had a brew.
Yeah.
You had a clear beverage. Was
that was tequila.
Was it?
Yeah. That's the great thing about tequila. It also looks like water. Yeah. I like tequila.
I was just wondering if there was something that was
I need a little bit.
Adult.
It was 108 degrees on the field.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. So it was nice to get in that dugout and our families in there and
then
relax.
you got a World Series banner in that stadium too. How'd that look like to you there? Was that the first time you saw the World Series banner since then?
Yes,
Okay.
that was the first time I'd been back into the K.
Into the K. It's
Not Royals.
Royals Stadium.
Rob Riggle.
It's just fantastic. And your Q&A tour, folks can come and just sit there and ask you questions.
Yeah, I'm going to be in a few cities, Philly.
Morristown, New Jersey on the 14th, Philly on the 16th, Huntington, New York on the 17th, just for for instance.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
what this is I'm not necessarily a stand-up comic, but what the idea of the show kind of came to me based on what I do kind of every day when I go out into the world, which is seemingly answer people's questions about different things. And so the show starts off with just a brief introduction of me and what I've been doing and how I got to where I'm at. And then really the show's just kind of driven by the audience and anything goes. And I describe it as an intimate evening with Eric Stonestreet because we never really know what's gonna happen, and I don't want to exclude anything from happening, but it's like having me over like this. We just chat.
Now, are you saying that of the Q&A that perhaps the Q is substituted for another letter? Is that what you're saying in a way, Eric?
Sure. You can pick a letter in the alphabet that you want to choose.
Okay.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever you want.
Fantastic. And so people just come and
come and
fire questions at you?
yeah, basically that's it. So
That's
I
awesome.
kind of like do the Phil Donahue and get out in the audience and just because I find that people are so interested in what we do, where we live, who we know, who we meet, and the show and sort of how the show works. And I find it very entertaining and very fun. I have a good time doing it. I certainly wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy interacting with people.
And how can people find out more on how to...
Well, they can go to all the
Sure,
websites of those
okay.
places that
Sure.
we mentioned, and
Yeah,
the theaters have tickets.
Okay, and also on your Twitter account at Eric Stone
Twitter,
Street.
I'll be at Eric Stone Street, Instagram,
Also.
at Eric Stone Street, all that
on
stuff.
Twitter. Okay, and when does Modern Family, when you get back
We
in
go
front of the
back,
cameras?
First Table Reads July 25th. We start production August 1. Season 8.
Season 8, Eric.
You know what's crazy is I have like 7-year-old kids coming up to me and saying, "Are you Cam? Are you the guy on Modern Family?" And I say, "Yeah, hi." And then I leave and I think, you were 0 when I got this job. You weren't born yet.
And who's the biggest fan of your show that we might not know? Who's a fan of Modern Family that you've met?
Wow. Well, I heard David Cameron watches the show when I was just in England. How crazy is that? I heard he's a massive fan.
He's a massive...
Yeah.
He's got
somebody told me that.
he's going to have to DVR it for a while. I
Yeah,
think.
he is.
Yeah.
He is. But we get people all the time. I know that the Obamas have watched the show and enjoy the show. I
That's
mean,
what you
it
hear.
doesn't really get any bigger than that
No.
as far as I'm concerned.
Leaders of free worlds. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And
Rich Eisen.
Well, I've told you before, I mean, now you're talking season 8.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. Consistently laugh out loud hilarious. Multiple times during the half-hour show. And the number we had Ed O'Neill on here, by the way, as you know. You helped hook that up.
I love that he came and he doesn't do a lot of talk shows.
People went nuts when we played. Plus, we played for him the annexation of Puerto Rico from from his movie that he did, Little Giants. That the Carolina Panthers actually ran that play against the Houston Texans 3 years ago. He'd never seen that before.
That's hilarious. That's
And
amazing.
He flipped out, and which he doesn't do very much of.
Ed always is pointing to his watch. He's
What does he
always
say?
like, "We done? We good? We got this, right?" We love. He said, "I'm the first person that's ever done an impersonation of him." as far as he knew, to him. And he caught me one day doing it. And he walks up and he goes, what's funny? I'm like, hey, Ed. He goes, what are you guys laughing at? And they're like, he's doing an impersonation of you. And he's like, let me see it. So I do this impersonation. He goes, I do that. I do that. I point to my watch all the time. Like, it doesn't matter what he's talking about. He'll be like, he could be like, say, like what he'll do a lot of times is when we have an event to go to, like, and we'll be at work, he'll be like, Eric, what time is that thing tonight? And I'll be like, it's 8. He goes, 8. Good. Okay, see you there. But it also might be like, hey, Eric, saw the Chiefs play this weekend. Great game. Are you going to watch the fight? I'm like, Ed, what are you pointing your watch for that for? Like, what are we on a clock for with respect to that?
He's a watch pointer.
Yeah,
He's a watch pointer. Yeah, and he's
always got a pot roast on.
Yeah, he does. Right. He's a
He's
chef.
always got something in the crock pot. He's always cooking something. He sends me pictures of his chicken cacciatore in his cast iron. It's a Hollywood dream come true.
Yeah.
Honestly, working with that guy.
Season 8, Secret Lives of Pets in theaters Friday, July 8th. The Q&A tour. Go check out Eric Stonestreet in person. Morristown, New Jersey on the 14th, Hollywood, Florida on the 15th, Philly on the 16th, Huntington, New York on the 17th.
Staten Island.
When?
To be determined.
TBD.
Take the ferry over there.
Forget about it.
Yo,
I got a question for you.
Yo, what's your question, ma'am? Go ahead.
At Eric Stonestreet on Twitter. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you, Rich.
By the way, always.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.